The night was eerily quiet in the village of Amoofia, except for the occasional croaks of the frog from the nearby village. Adobe sat by her window, staring into the darkness. Her heart was heavy, her thoughts tangled. It has been 2 weeks since she last visited the river. The 2 weeks since her world had changed. She hadn't shared a word with anyone, not even her mother, who had noticed her once vibrant daughter becoming a shadow of herself. Adobe, her mother called softly from the door. No response. Inside, Adobe remained still, in thought. Her heart ached, and her mind replayed memories of Ezemmiri, the mysterious yet charming prince of the waters, who had captured her heart only to shatter it. The next morning, Adobe's mother entered her room to wake her for the market. Adobe, let's go. We need to buy things for today's cooking. Adobe groaned and turned over on her bed, her face pale. Alarmed, her mother rushed to her side. Adobe, are you okay? Before she could answer, Adobe jumped out of her bed and rushed outside and began to vomit. Her mother watched horrified. This wasn't just illness, it was morning sickness. In no time, the village herbalist was summoned. His face grew serious after examining Adobe. Adobe is pregnant, he announced solemnly. Adobe's parents gasped in unison. Her father's voice trembled with anger. Pregnant? How? Who is responsible for this? Adobe's mother turned to her, tears streaming down her face. Adobe, speak. Who is the father of this child? Tears filled Adobe's eyes. She hesitated, her voice barely above a whisper. It's Ezemmiri. Her parents froze in disbelief. A papi water? Her father gasped, pacing the room in shock. You are carrying a mama's child? How is this even possible? Adobe bowed her head, feeling ashamed. I don't know. I didn't mean for this to happen. Her father walked out and her mother also followed, leaving her with her younger sister Nkechi. Nkechi tried to console her and told her everything will be fine. Far below the surface, in the underwater kingdom, Ezemmiri sat in his chambers, his heart heavy. His younger brother Ezuwa had just returned from a long journey to a neighboring water kingdom. He had spent months there. I have heard about what happened, brother, Ezuwa said gently. How are you feeling? Ezemmiri sighed deeply. I feel torn, Uwa. I can't marry Princess Ifema. I don't love her. Ezuwa placed a hand on his shoulder. Then don't. Love should not be forced, tradition or not. Ezemmiri shook his head. But I slept with her under the influence of that drink. If she carries my child, I must honor our customs. Ezuwa frowned. Something feels wrong about this. Why were you drunk that night? And how did it lead to this? Ezemmiri's face grew dark. I don't remember anything, but I know I was with her. Now she's pregnant and I don't know what to do. Ezuwa thought for a moment. Something's wrong and we must find out the truth. Back in Amorphia, Adobe's belly was growing faster than normal and it scared her. In just 3 weeks, it looked like she was already 3 months pregnant. Her parents became even more worried and called the herbalist again. The herbalist said, "This baby is not normal. It's part human and part mermaid." Adobe's heart raced with fear. What will I do? How will I hide this from the villagers when the belly starts showing? She thought. One evening, in the underwater kingdom, there was a loud argument coming from Princess Ifema's chambers. Ezuwa, who had been suspicious of Ifema, overheard it. He was sure something wasn't right. Who was that man? Ezuwa wondered to himself. Why was he arguing with Princess Ifema? The next day, Ezuwa asked his sister, Asamiri, "Do you know anything about a man visiting Princess Ifema's chambers? I saw him leave in a hurry last night." Asamiri was surprised. "I don't know about any man," she said quickly. "Princess Ifema is a good person. I don't know why Ezemiri has not married her yet. She's almost 7 months pregnant." Ezuwa raised an eyebrow. "That's strange. You need to find out more." The next day, Asamiri went to Princess Ifema's chambers. They talked and laughed about the pregnancy and the sex of the baby. Then Asamiri asked, "By the way, who was that man you were arguing with last night?" Ifema's face went pale. What man?" she asked, stammering. Asamiri said to her, "The one who left your room so angry. Who is he?" Princess Ifema quickly tried to change the subject. "Oh, look at this beautiful ornament on your neck. Can you ask the bead makers to make one for me? It's so beautiful." Asamiri, now distracted, said, "Yes, of course. You know I always go for the best." They both laughed and joked. Back in Amorphia, Adaobi was really worried. Although the belly had not started showing, but she was concerned on how she would hide this from the villagers once it starts showing. The villagers would mock her, and Adaobi was filled with fear. The herbalist came again and said, "This baby is part mermaid. It is not a normal child. This pregnancy will be faster than usual." Adaobi's thoughts were filled with panic. What do I do? Everyone would see it. Under the waters, Ezu was still investigating, learned from one of the palace guards that the man who had been visiting Princess Ifema's chambers was sneaking into her chambers at night. He told his brother, Ezemiri, "I have seen a man going in and out of Princess Ifema's chambers late at night." Ezuwa said, "We need to find out what's going on." Ezemiri nodded. "We will get to the bottom of this." That night, Ezemiri and Ezuwa hid outside Princess Ifema's chambers. They listened as the young man spoke to Princess Ifema. Inside Princess Ifema's chamber, the mama spoke heatedly. "How much longer will we keep this charade? I am tired of sneaking around Ifema. That child is mine and I will not hide any longer," the mama said. Princess Ifema kissed him. "Don't worry, I have spoken to the wise seer. She said once I am 7 months pregnant, there is a charm I will place in Ezemiri's chambers. I will use the charm to force Ezemiri to marry me," she said. "I will be 7 months pregnant in a week, and by then, all my plans will be set. Then we will take back everything, land, gold, pearl from this kingdom." Ezemiri and Ezuwa were shocked. They burst into the room and saw Ifema in the mama's arms. "Ifema," Ezemiri shouted, "what is this? You've been lying to me." Princess Ifema gasped. It's not what you think," she pleaded. Ezemiri was angry but relieved. "I am glad I am not the father of your child," he said. "You have failed." Then he summoned the palace guards. The council of elders was also called to make a decision. The verdict was clear. Princess Ifema was to leave the kingdom and never return. The next morning, Princess Ifema packed her things in shame, but her eyes burned with anger. She was not defeated. "This isn't over," she muttered to herself. Asamiri was disappointed at herself of how she almost helped Princess Ifema to destroy their kingdom. but she was relieved that Princess Ifema was now exposed. Back in Amorphia, every night Adaobi will weep in her room. One fateful night, she said, "Ezemiri," she whispered, "you have destroyed my life. I trusted you, and now I am a disgrace in my village. I will never forgive you." Under the sea, after Princess Ifema had been chased from the palace, Ezemiri sought help from Nwa Ogidi, the wise old turtle. He was determined to find a way to see Adaobi. Nwa Ogidi handed him a potion that would turn him into a man for a single day. At dawn, Ezemiri emerged from the river, now in human form. He walked to Amorphia, asking villagers for directions to Adaobi's hut. Adaobi was outside washing clothes when she saw a stranger approaching. "Who are you?" she asked, startled. "It's me, Adaobi," he said softly. Ezemiri. Her jaw dropped. "Impossible, you're a merman." He explained everything, the potion, the deception, and his love for her. Tears filled Adaobi's eyes, but she remained guarded. "Ezemiri," she said, her voice trembling, "you have hurt me deeply." "I know," he replied, "and I will spend the rest of my life making it right." He knelt before her. "Adaobi, I love you. Will you be my wife?" For the first time in weeks, Adaobi smiled. "Yes," she whispered. Under the waters, Princess Ifema arrived her kingdom. Her father surprised to see her. "What happened, my daughter?" Princess Ifema, seated with anger, replied, "He found out everything." Then she leaned on her father, sad. "We must do something. We can't just accept defeat." Her father leaned in and then called their great seer, an ancient sea serpent. "Release Mami Anya, the banished sea witch. She will destroy Ezemiri and anyone who stands in our way." They laughed darkly, setting their sinister plan into motion. Princess Ifema smiled darkly. "Yes, father, we will make them pay." Thanks for tuning in. Be sure to stay connected by leaving your thoughts in the comments, giving the video a thumbs up and subscribing to the channel. Hit the notification bell so you're the first to know when a new content drops. We appreciate your support and look forward to seeing you in the next video.